Hello, everyone. Welcome to MindBody TV. I'm Dr. Kim Duramo, and I'm going to be sharing some really interesting information about what we're doing every time we're in that space of FOMO, fear of missing out, and really a powerful vantage point where we can increase our frequency and change our lives and become more conscious, which has scientifically been shown to really be the foundation of everything you're experiencing in your health and your body and in your life. So welcome to MindBody TV. Hello to everyone who is here listening to the podcast or watching the recording on YouTube or in the MindBody community on Facebook. And I'm going to wait a few minutes for people to come in live. See people rolling in. Hi, Randy. How are you? So I wanted to share this topic because of actually something my husband posted recently by the same title. So I stole his title. He said it was okay. Because so many people understand what this whole thing is with FOMO, the fear of missing out, but we may not really understand just what we're missing out on when we succumb to FOMO and what it does to your body, what it does to your frequency, what it does cellularly, and as importantly, what it creates in your outer life and how it actually keeps you on this like never-ending cycle of the hamster wheel, where you're continually trying to outrun the fear and struggle to make things happen, improve things in your life. So for those of you who don't know me, I am a physician. I was board certified in emergency medicine, but am now sharing mind-body medicine exclusively. I've retired from the ER years back. And it was really after seeing how much more is possible for healing when we connect more deeply with what's actually going on in the body. I've seen how powerful our awareness is with shifting what's happening in the physical body. And I've also studied for decades the science behind that, understanding the mind-body connection, understanding the power of connecting with ourselves more fully and allowing that specifically to ignite change in your body and your health and your outer life. So after developing, my practice for several years, I've now brought this online and am now seeing people all over the world through Zoom or Skype or in my online programs. And I also do run live retreats. So I see people physically as well, but most of this is done online. We are here every week at 11 a.m. Mountain for MindBody TV, whether you're tuning into Facebook, in the MindBody community, or you're listening in YouTube. Be sure you're subscribed to my channel if you'd like to be aware when I post new videos. Just hit the bell. So I am really excited to be here. Hi to Mike from the Jersey Shore. A bunch of people in the MindBody community. I've loved Dr. Mario's videos on this. COVID times muddles the water with FOMO versus Jomo. Please address. Is trying to be safe the same as coming from a place of fear? Definitely, I will touch on that. Hello, Katarina, Jimbo. Katarina is from Sweden. All right, I love hearing where you are joining from. We have people from UK, some people from Jersey Shore. Woohoo! All right, Danvers, Mass. Cool, I grew up right outside of Boston. So I am now broadcasting from Durango, Colorado, a very, very beautiful place in the mountains. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what is FOMO versus Jomo. FOMO, of course, is the fear of missing out. It's this inner urgency that says, I got to do that. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, yes, yes. But it's actually coming from a place of fear of not wanting to miss out, as opposed to the joy of wanting to do something or the inspiration to that yes. So it's not actually aligned with what will create more for you, but we choose it anyway because we get so overwhelmed with fear/urgency that it kind of hijacks us and makes us do things that aren't really a contribution to us. And the flip side of that is Jomo, the joy of missing out. And I think my husband coined this phrase, but I don't know if he borrowed it from someone else, but he did do a really cool broadcast about this. And this is the joy of missing out. And what I want to share today is that when we choose in favor of joy, whether it's, oh, I really don't want to do that thing, so I'm just going to say no. Instead of, yes, 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 we know it's not really a fit and we say no, we get to have more joy. When something is a fit and we say yes, we get to have more joy. But the joy of missing out is basically when we don't succumb to the fear of missing out. We say no and we receive more as a result of saying no to what's not really serving us. So every time you have that urge to say yes for the fear of missing out, and you instead say no, you just increased your joy quotient. And I know this image in some of the broadcasts is not mirror image and that it's backwards. So if I write anything down, I will do my best to write backwards. No, just kidding. I'm not really going to write backwards. I do want to explain though, on the frequency scale. And since I am practicing conscious medicine, I am in the premise that we are pure energy. We are vibrational and secondarily physical. We are not purely physical. And that's why this is so important. When we come from things from the standpoint that we are purely physical, it actually puts us in more fear, which is where FOMO drives us into staying busy, being busy, and doing all kinds of things we don't really want to do. So on this frequency scale, so here's our low frequency, here's our high frequency. Down here on the bottom is fear. Up on the top, we will call it joy. Okay, when we live down here at this lower frequency, it's going to seem really enticing. I've got to do this thing. I've got to do that thing. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out, right? So it's not a vantage point of joy. It's a vantage point of not missing out. So what is missing out? I'm going to be left behind. I don't get to have the thing. I'm going to suffer in some way if I don't make sure I get on board for this thing that I don't even really want to do. Because if you check in, every time you feel FOMO, this is the first thing I'm going to give you as a gift. Every time you feel FOMO, take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart, and just say, hey, body, I'm here. We're good. I'm here. I love you. I'm here. It's okay to choose from joy. And then take 10 breaths. Now, usually I'll tell people to take 3 breaths, but sometimes FOMO really hijacks us. 10 breaths. Get yourself here now. You do not want to be hijacked by fear and spend your life creating all these things, choosing all these things that just keep you on a hamster wheel. You want to create fulfillment. You want to choose what is actually fulfilling to me. So put your hand on your heart when you feel that sense of FOMO and let that little bit of transmutation happen. Body, it's okay to let this go. It's okay to be here now and choose what's truly joy. Now, every time you choose in favor of joy, you increase your joy quotient. You actually come up the frequency scale. Come up the frequency scale, not just by thinking about joy, but by actually choosing it. So if all you do is take 10 breaths and relax your shoulders when you feel FOMO, if all you do is take 10 breaths and relax your shoulders, you just made a choice. You just came higher on the scale. You increased your frequency. Now, what is our body's frequency? We can detect the electromagnetic field of the body up to 8 to 10 feet away from your physical body. That means we are emitting a frequency. And we've seen this correlate with, when you're in states of joy, ease, well-being, it correlates with healthy physiology in your body immediately. Immediate chemical changes, immediate hormonal changes, immediate decreasing cortisol and stress hormones, just from being in a state of joy, just from relaxing your shoulders and saying, hey, body, it's okay. We're here now. So we see this and we can detect this in the energy field up to 8 to 10 feet away from your body. This energy field affects your cells, your DNA and genes, your chemistry, all the hormones, everything going on. It also affects the space beyond you. And there are really cool studies by the Institute of Heart Math where they look at what happens in someone else's body, in their health, when you are in certain states of, certain emotional states, certain frequencies, high frequency, low frequency. So everything around you is affected by that. Every time you choose in favor of your joy, you come up the scale. Even if all you chose was relax my shoulders and take 10 breaths, you came up in your frequency. So we can detect that change. So what happens when you choose from Jomo instead of FOMO? Jomo is the joy of missing out. I don't even want to do that thing anyway. I get to be more free. Now, Jomo is not always going to feel so easy for the first moments. It's going to create way more, but it's going to feel a little like uncomfortable. It's more comfortable to stay in the addiction of FOMO. Yes, it's an addiction because I don't want to meet my fear. I'm going to keep doing this stuff to hope I don't miss out. Okay, anybody know what I'm talking about here? I'd love to hear your comments. Okay, great. We have people from England, Toronto, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania. I have fear of losing our family's support. Good. North Andover, here in my golden heart. Hello, Jean. So fear of losing my family's support, and that's a big thing. I'm going to do this instead of that because I'm afraid people will leave me. And so that fear drives us. And so whether it's true or not, you stay in fear. You stay in limitation. So everybody think of something that you have the FOMO around, whether it's, I know I need time to myself, but I don't want to miss out on my friends. I'm going to go out. Or, I know this course doesn't really feel harmonious to me, but I don't want to miss out. Maybe I need to learn something and I'm going to take that course. Or it could be anything. What are you in fear around? Or what someone here on Facebook is sharing. And there is a way to enable in the MindBody community to let StreamYard know your identity, just your name, not your identity, but then it will show up. No big deal for me either way. So someone here is saying fear of losing my family support. So out of that fear, you're going to do or not do certain things. You're going to not maybe express and share who you really are. You're going to not maybe move to the place you want to move. You're going to not maybe have the career you want to have. I had a friend a couple of weeks ago who told me her husband is a doctor, really wanted to go into teaching medicine. And he's like, well, maybe when my dad dies. And she's like, what? Yeah, I know they really expect this of me and they help me get through school. And, I don't want to let them down. So even though there's this thing I really want to do that would bring so much joy to my heart, I got to wait till my father dies. And he's not even sick. So this could be like 20 years, 30 years, who knows, before I make this change in my career. So fear of letting someone down. Fear of missing out on their support. So look at what you're doing. There's the inner awareness of, this would be so juicy for me. But then there's the, nope, because I'm afraid, I'm not going to choose it. Because I'm afraid, I'm going to do this thing that they want me to do, or I'm going to do this thing I'm afraid of missing out on, or I'm going to do this thing even though it doesn't really resonate for me. Every time you choose that, you decrease your frequency. You anchor in to the lower frequency fields. And if you missed the broadcast last week, I spoke a lot about how new potentials and possibilities get created when you increase your frequency. Your body is electromagnetic. Your body is pure energy. Your health is directly linked to the frequency of consciousness you're in. And every time you make a choice in favor of fear, even if it's a little thing like, well, she really needs me to be this way, so I'll just keep doing it. Little or big, every time you make a choice in favor of fear, it anchors you in that lower frequency. It makes it more real. And every time you make a choice in favor of joy and choose Jomo, the joy of missing out, you get to increase your frequency. But the thing I wanted to talk about today is why. Okay, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to risk people rejecting you, abandoning you, but you get to have joy. I don't know if that's a good trade-off. So let's look at what that actually is. Feel into your personal why, right? What's your heart's deepest desire that everything you're doing is for? Well, I want to please these people so I get to feel peace and be happy. Oh, I want to take care of this so I get to feel more at ease. Oh, I want to work really hard so I get to make more money and have a sense of freedom. So go to the end of the end of the end of your why. For every single thing you do, there's a why. And if you go to the end point of it, it's always some version of, so I can feel more whole, more joy, more freedom, more love, more ease. I'm trying to fix my health. I'm trying to heal my body so I can feel more freedom, so I can enjoy my life more. Okay, so I want to hear a little bit of that. Thank you, Victoria. Jen, I have a big fear around being my authentic self. Yes. Welcome to the collective shift that's happening right now on the planet. You're a part of it. Katrina, I totally get it. People pleaser and making wrong to others. Melanie, yes, I know this feeling. I have had both. FOMO about your retreat. Fear of missing out. And that's the thing. If you feel like, oh, I know this isn't really for me, but I'm afraid of missing out, go deeper and listen. Is this a fit for me? Will this contribute to my ultimate joy, freedom, and well-being? And if there's a clarity that it's a no, choose the joy of missing out. And you choose to know concretely and with every bit of certainty that you just increased your ability to receive everything your heart desires. So write down on a piece of paper, what is that joy? Okay, I get to live in love, ease, freedom, have work that I really love, that's meaningful to me, and I'm making a difference. Have wealth so that I can enjoy my time and be supported and take care of my children and pay for delicious food and enjoy this, and this. What are those things you want to enjoy? I want to feel good in my body and have health and vitality. So any of the things, general or specific, and I guess I could do this. I don't know if I can do this, but let's write it. Okay. I wrote it backwards for anyone who's on the flipped screen version of this video. What is that? And so it could be joy, it could be love, it could be freedom. It's all the same frequency. Every time you choose Jomo over FOMO, you directly increase your ability to create that. You actually create it in that moment. You have opened to receive it. So what's worth it? Because you got to feel uncomfortable. When everyone else is doing this thing and you're like, oh, I really should do it, but I know I want to rest. Or, okay, I should do that business course, but it's just not resonating with me. I'm going to honor myself and know that more will get created when I choose Jomo, the joy of missing out. When I honor myself in the equation, always more gets created. But I might as well know what that more is and get some clarity so that I have the inspiration and the energy to go through the discomfort of not succumbing to FOMO. So for Jen, like, what is being your authentic self? Okay, whenever we choose to be our authentic self, we show up as the light that we truly are. So the people who are a perfect fit for us in, like, maybe being our lover or our best friends or a community and other people or business partners or fill in the blank, will see us like from across the ether. You don't even have to yell it from the rooftops. They will find you because your light is shining. But it's scary, right? If I'm my authentic self, this one and that one might reject me. If I'm my authentic self, I may lose this, and this. You might lose your job. You might lose that source of income. You might lose, people. Well, none of those are actually your source of wealth or your source of love. Love can come through people. Love can come through, money can come through your job, but they are not your source. Universe is your source. Spirit, or whatever you want to call it, is your source. The channels it comes through, it's kind of dependent on you. If you choose to stay in those low frequencies of fear, they're going to come through really challenging channels. If you choose, I commit to be my authentic self no matter what. Guess what happened? All the abundance in the world that's here for you will come in fluidly. It gets created through you, not from you. Someone in Facebook said the FOMO can quickly go to self-pity because of the intensity of 13 years of being totally removed from life and worsening. But it's taken me till last night to be able to breathe with the choice of choosing to really be here with incredible physical pain and exhaustion everywhere in my body. Admittedly, it's not the worst agony where all I need is for the agony to go. That's it. But if I really deeply choose to be with myriad of intense long-term symptoms with lots of gentle breathing, I can then, oh boy, did it get cut off? You see, I think the point that we need to make here is when we choose to be where we are now, instead of resisting where we are now, that's when symptoms dissolve. That because of the increase in frequency that has, we've seen medically in scientific studies, pain decreases, inflammation decreases, even the genes that express disease get turned off. Because it's the environment the cell is in, not the genes that are inside the cell, that determines what happens in your health. Someone's asking, what if you know you should be feeling Jomo because of the fun is inauthentic, but you can't help feeling FOMO? So you know you should. It's not a matter of should. It's not a matter of should. It's a matter of, is this fear driving that choice? Fear of missing out. The fear of missing out is very tricky. It's fear disguised as fun, or fear disguised as opportunity. You should really do this thing because something bad will happen if you don't. You're like, oh, I guess that's a good thing. But either way, I'm still choosing fear. And the more I choose, I anchor into fear, the more fear I have to run from. So FOMO is like, you're going to temporarily feel a little better, but ultimately, because it anchors you into fear, you lose. And Jomo is kind of the opposite. It's like, I have this idea of missing out, but it's actually what's in my joy. So there's this temporary discomfort because if you're in FOMO, your mind is hijacked. Let's not sugarcoat it. If you're in FOMO, your mind is getting like the little carrot. You should do this thing, really, really. And you're like, oh. So you abandon yourself and your knowing and you go to this thing. But Jomo is going to be initially uncomfortable. I'm not saying choosing joy is initially uncomfortable. I'm saying when you're in FOMO, to not succumb will initially feel uncomfortable. So to choose joy, even though the mind thinks you're missing out, is going to take a little bit of presence, a little bit of commitment. And that's why being aware of what are my true heart's desires is the very thing that's going to give you the courage and the strength to stay present. I do want to invite people to the workshop that we have about this coming up on August 20th. And it's really about people who are in business, healers, coaches, doctors, other practitioners who want to move into a more expansive way of assisting others. How do you create that business in a conscious way? How do you create it in a way that's aligned with your joy instead of aligning it with the FOMO, the pop culture ideas about business, about marketing, about what you're supposed to be doing, and actually let something new get created? That workshop is free, and it is at drkimd.com/workshop. We'll be going a lot deeper into this piece, and I'll give you specific tools for how you increase your personal frequency and honor yourself in the equation of creating a business assisting others, because that is the only way to actually create prosperity in your business. There is no way you can create true wealth in a business if you're not connected with what is the abundance in you, what is the truth in you, and listening to the wisdom in you. So drkimd.com/workshop. So how do we overcome this? We've got to be willing to go through that little bit of discomfort and choose what we know is true for us, which will always create more joy, will always create more wealth, will always create prosperity. And if you're a practitioner, it's what will always create more for your client or patient. I had someone I was working with privately who's an amazing, beautiful, she's a nurse, a massage therapist who is developing a healing business, doing really cool energy work to release pain. And then she had this one client who had this very severe pain and was like, this was my last hope. And I thought this would work. And now my pain is increased. And she said to me, why isn't this working? What am I doing wrong? And so I had her feel into like, what is everything this brought up for you? Because who says it's not working? So the attachment to the result is where you go wrong. Like, it should be this way and it happened this way. What if that is exactly what that woman needs to meet in order to live a more fulfilled and whole life, in order to let that energy that's causing her pain move through? And the other thing I said to her was, you are not responsible for what's happening. You're not responsible for the result that your patients get. Now, this is the exact opposite of what you learn in conventional medicine, where it's all about how good you are as a doctor. If you get better results, it's all about you. But it's not. When you can let your patient have their journey, you can invite them into a far, far more powerful experience and far better ultimate results, which is the return to wholeness rather than just escaping pain. And it made a huge difference for her to see like, oh my God, that's where I've been going. I've been in the pattern of being responsible for others and I'm doing it here. What if I let go and trust myself and trust my work and let it do what it's doing and assist her through this instead of trying to take it away? Totally different experience. So that should really kind of resonate, I think, for a lot of people. Katerina said, awesome, that does make sense. Track the opposite, as in, I'm afraid of being powerless, when being powerful is what weakens me. Well, fear of being powerless is what weakens you, right? I'm not going to be my authentic self because I'll lose this, I'll lose that. And I don't really trust my authentic self anyway, maybe it's not so powerful. So if we have that idea, yeah, we're going to suppress like crazy. Mo stands for missing out. Ellen, I choose to be my authentic self, but that will take changing 54 years of pleasing others. It'll take changing this moment, one split second. Forget about the past. That's not what's here now. What's here now is what's here now. The fear that led to pleasing others is here now. And in any moment, you could transmute it. Just because you didn't do it in any of those 54 years doesn't mean you can't do it in this moment, because you can. In fact, you're more likely to do it in this moment than any moment for having had 54 years of certainty, clarity, and awareness. And you needed that. I actually loved COVID in that it has provided so much Jomo. Okay, so this is the end of the sentence. I can then choose to let the truth of who I am come through. Joy, flourishing, energy, welcome it, as well as choosing being with the unbearable physical symptoms. Yes, because we have seen scientifically again and again and again, the thing that allows the pain, the contraction, the inflammation, all of the things that cause disease, that chemistry, that physiology resolves when we're in a higher state of consciousness, when we're in a higher electromagnetic frequency, when we're in joy versus fear. And it's not trying to get to joy and get out of fear. It's embracing the fear we're in. The thing that increases our frequency the most is allowing ourselves to be where we are more fully, more willingly. I choose to feel this fear. I choose to welcome this fear, to be the space of allowing that welcomes this fear, that welcomes this shame, that welcomes this heaviness, that welcomes blah, 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 blah. Whatever is unbearable, unforgivable, unfathomable. I choose to forgive that which my mind thinks is unforgivable. I choose to welcome that which my mind thinks is intolerable. I embrace this powerlessness. I spoke about this on last week's broadcast, so you can revisit that if it's resonating for you. That is the way to increase your frequency. So it's not by trying to get more light, it's by embracing more darkness. The way we shine more light is by embracing more darkness. Hello, Patrick. Taylor, I feel like my FOMO is manifested in my thoughts. I'm constantly daydreaming, not being in my body. Yes, so it's an escape. This is a lot of ways how some people use visualization, but it's as an escape. So you actually anchor into the lower frequency instead of transmuting it. Oh, babe. Yep, I do believe it's addiction. It is. It's an addiction. There you have it. Am I willing to move beyond this addiction? Yes. And one of the big fuels for that will be to get clear on your why. Why am I going to go through the discomfort of Jomo versus just succumbing to the FOMO, where my mind's like, yeah, it's a quick hit. It's a quick hit, but it's not sustained. Every time you choose from the fear of missing out, you lose eventually for the long term. And so that's a great reason to go through the discomfort of overcoming the addiction. It could be seconds, it could be minutes, but even if it's days, you just shifted in days, decades, and decades of old energy. But if you don't know that, those days seem really long. And you're like, why is this so hard, right? So if you realize like, whoa, I'm moving this, so then I'm free for the rest of my life, then you have the courage and power to do it. Wanting to live in joy and peace, but I get dragged down by problems of people I care about. Okay, so I don't want to let them down, but I want to be free. Are you willing to let people have their pain? Because life gives us the experience we need in order to awaken. And then if you think, oh no, but she'll never get it. She's small and incapable. And so I should give her my energy and do it for her. What are you buying into? The smallness of that person, which is the whole problem to begin with. Of why they're in this situation is they've bought into the smallness of them. They've bought into their victimhood. Every time you refuse to buy into someone's victimhood, you empower them. You open a space for them to be empowered. So if choosing yourself means letting them have their pain, it will always feed them. It will always feed them. And this is a big thing I see with practitioners is we take responsibility for others. We take it on. I'm going to take this on. And then I'm heavy at the end of the day versus I'm going to stand in my light and then others receive way more. And I'm light at the end of the day. This is a lot what we'll be talking about in the workshop, drkimd.com/workshop, which is about creating your 5D business, how you operate as a healer, as a coach, as a practitioner, any kind of like practitioner assisting others' well-being and abundance. How are you setting yourself up in a way that honors you as you contribute to them? This is the number one thing I see that creates so much depletion for wellness practitioners, especially energy practitioners or even just conventional doctors. They're so depleted because we're giving. We aren't operating in a way that's really harmonious for us and that actually gives way more to our patients and clients. Here we go. Melanie, I've actually loved COVID because of the Jomo. I just got here. What's Mo? My fear versus joy. So fear of missing out. I guess it's not as popular a mainstream term, FOMO. Fear of missing out. So then we've got the joy of missing out, which is like you're actually winning. It'll feel uncomfortable for the very, very short term. But if you have awareness of what's happening, you're like, oh, I'm increasing my frequency. By making a choice based on joy instead of fear, I just literally exponentially improved my life and my health. All right. Thank you. Katerina, oops, lost it. Katerina, kind of falling in love with everything. Awesome. Tisby, I always find that whenever I want to be more of my authentic self, I have to go through pain and it becomes unbearable eventually. Yeah, I get that. It actually doesn't need to be. So wherever you believe that your authentic self isn't, or wherever you're not embracing it, wherever your authentic self isn't loved, cherished, and embraced, isn't integrated harmoniously, and wherever you're not loving and embracing what your authentic self is, would you just delete, return to sender that suppressive way of being? Because you could fully surrender to what you are, bring all your energy back from everyone else who's going to fight that. So you're not vested in the fight. And you're like, I'm here and I choose myself fully. And then people can fall out like, no, you can't leave me. No, you can't make that choice, right? And you're not vested in that, meaning you've pulled your energy back. So your energy is here in harmony, not out there in the codependency. Or what else for you? Yeah, that's where it is for you, baby girl. That's where it's been for you, is in the, oh, I got to do this for others and they're not going to like it. So it's going to be painful because they're not going to be happy as I make this choice. So it's a tug of war. So if you totally unhook from where you're still meeting them there, meaning in codependency, I'll be this for you and you'll be that for me. And I promise I won't, increase my frequency or go into a higher state or truly embrace joy and abundance because, like, hey, we're in this together. So there's some ways you've anchored into other people. That's what's causing so much pain. So, hey, I love you and I set you free. I forgive myself and I set myself free. And I'm willing to choose what is the highest for me. And in the total knowing, that is always 100% of the time what creates the highest possibility for everyone. Can you talk more about visualization as a distraction? Yeah, if we're like trying to escape what we're actually feeling by like, I'm going to visualize it's better. I'm going to visualize I'm in this better place. Let me visualize better because what's getting created, is still not so great. I'm going to make it better, right? I'm trying to create something better. I'm trying to get here up high on the scale instead of be here down lower on the scale. Right? No one wants to be here and lower on the scale. You're like, no, I want to get high. I want to have joy. So we're trying to get there, but that's not possible. We can only be where we are more willingly. And that is the exactly thing that increases our frequency. It's not the fear that is so toxic to the body. Fear, anger, grief, because we've seen these are toxic. These literally create cellular disease, cancer, autoimmune disease, MS, thyroid disease, brain fog, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, name it. It's not actually the fear, it's the resistance to meeting the fear. The resistance to embracing the grief. The resistance to truly connecting with our powerlessness because we feel that it will overtake us. Will be lost forever. It's not true. If you are willing is love. Willing is, I receive this. I embrace. And in the Embracing Health course, that's like the whole premise. If I embrace this darkness, I become more light. I choose to forgive what my mind thinks is not forgivable. Yes. Someone in Facebook, I discovered that in suppressed anger, I also wound up being envious and jealous, wanting to take the other person down, which I'm ashamed about. So it's really shame that's coming up. The jealousy is pointing to shame. So thank you. I've held this envy and this shame, and I love it. If you can love what you've resisted, therein is the transmutation. You are that powerful. The result is anxiety and depression. Oh, I'm ashamed and I'm compelled to hide it. So at least reveal it to yourself. Sweet love, I see your shame and I love you. So you can say to yourself, I see my shame and I love it. I love that I have this depth of awareness because now you're letting the deepest layers of densities release. We said, I'm ashamed about it and it's compelled to hide. The result is anxiety, depression, lots of fear. Joy? No way. Your thoughts? So it will sound like, I got to go to joy. And you're like, I'm so far from joy. So just go to 2% more ease. I embrace this fear. I embrace this shame. You did increase your joy quotient. That's the same thing that is joy. It just looks different in the form of embracing, in the form of I'm willing to see this, willingness, in the form of I accept that I'm seeing this. Maybe you don't even accept the shame. You're like, no, that's so bad. I accept that I'm witnessing there's something there. That's enough. It's a 2% shift. How do we teach our children this, 14 and 16? You can really only embody it. If you're not embodying it, I guarantee you that if you try to teach them, they'll be like, get away from me, whatever, 100% of the time. So if that's what you're getting, no, oh, wait a minute, it's for me to embody. So if all you did was embody it, they would get it. And if you embody it fully enough for some time, it softens you. They will feel that. And then maybe there's actually a conversation about, hey, guess what I've realized? And you can really only do it from a point of, this is what I saw in myself, and it caused pain in me. And when I chose this instead, wow, I feel so much more free. So sharing your experience, because what a lot of us do is we parent from like superiority. Hey, you should do this and you should do that. And I learned this thing and this is going to help you out so much because you need this because there's something wrong and I'm going to help fix it. And if you want to create resistance in your kids, like there are a few things that will create resistance faster where they're like, get the hell away from me, you freaking fool. So you really can only embody it. And that's all that's required. It is a cherry on top. If you've embodied it so fully, they really feel your softness, you'll have conversations with them, or they'll come to you to say like, hey, I'm kind of struggling with this. But be aware, don't go into hierarchy of, I know this thing and I'm going to tell you and you better learn it, right? Because then we're parenting from fear. So always come from, I'm going to share something in my experience and maybe it will be useful for you too. Okay, Cindy, thank you. That was sweet. Lucy, just for clarity, welcoming, relaxing and into the present. Oh, sorry, welcoming and relaxing into the present, lower on the scale places. What you're in, being constantly with the darkness and lowest pains over and over. Can one also practice gratitude for the truth of who we are? That's the whole point. I see this grief and I'm grateful for what I see. Thank you for showing me, because it is our awareness that transmutes the energy, not our fixing or smart thing I learned or trying really hard. It's our awareness is so freaking powerful. It's like the best kept secret in medicine. Anik, it's always about us. We are a reflection of ourselves through others. Yeah. That's why I've been so grounded in this when I work with practitioners or coaches or healers who are like moving forward and expanding their work. It's always about, how do I develop more power within me? That's what's going to let people get better results. That's going to let my business be more profitable and continue to expand and make a bigger difference in the world and create wealth in my life. That's what's going to allow me to be in fluidity as I assist others instead of depletion. So again, that workshop is at drkimd.com/workshop. We already have lots of people registered, so I am super excited about that. And there's just so much I'm really passionate about with understanding that your body is the power source that allows others to heal. It's not about the pill. And we've seen this for like eons in every major medical study. You know, there's this placebo effect, right? What is that? What are we igniting in the body? And how do we amplify that? And what we've seen is we can amplify that in unthinkable ways, very specifically and very directly for healing. So really that's what my work is all about. Feeling like I'm endlessly feeling it all, but it must be missing something because it just clears more layers. Yeah, but this is the thing is, okay, I'm feeling it all, waiting for it to shift. Okay, I'm going to feel my pain. Where's my joy? And I know this can be a little tricky, but what if I'm willing to sit with it for the sake of sitting with it, for the opportunity, what's the word I'm looking for the honor of getting to meet the deeper places in me. not so it goes away, not so I get better and get the thing out there, so that I get to be more present with me, because I am the gold. I am the God. I am the glory. I am the divinity that I'm looking, the more that I'm looking for in my life. There's divinity in you. And if you can let yourself really honor the space of that being in you who is infinite, for the sake of meeting that depth of you, that's when everything transmutes. Okay, Christine said, it's been since starting the Embracing Health program that my daughter has really connected with me. Like you said, when I started to embody everything, she started to shift instead of me preaching. That is awesome. And there's a link for that program. That's a program where I work with people a little bit more directly over a year. And we will be launching that again toward the end of the year. So if you want to be on the waiting list for that, it's drkimd.com/health. Anik, I'm gravely reacting to EMFs. Can this workshop help? Yes. If you're at a higher consciousness, then the consciousness where electromagnetic frequencies are disturbing, or even foods, you will be unaffected. Wow, the resistance of meeting the fear and grief is causing the symptoms. Yeah, 100%. It's always about us. Yikes, I'm guilty of that superiority. Well, I think we all can be, because I know, especially if you have like a partner, your partner is going to reflect in you when you get off your being in presence of essence and you start being in mind, which can do like, well, I know this thing and you should do this. And so I have a partner who is fiercely willing to stand for me and let me see that so I can knock it off. The best explanation of codependency I've ever heard. Spot on. Many thanks. Nice. Thank you. I've been experiencing the same thing with my daughter. She cut me out of her life for almost 2 years. She's now starting to communicate some. It's been very difficult and painful for me, though. Yeah, it can be really painful to meet these spaces in ourselves, but no, it is 100% the place. That's why I wrote this down. When you know why I'm going through the discomfort of Jomo, choosing joy instead of choosing fear, you're like, bring it frickin' on. Yes, all day long, I am here to put my energy into that which is my truest, deepest heart's desire, instead of, but I have to help people and I don't want to let them go. When I live my highest self, it feeds everyone. So there you have it. FOMO versus Jomo. I love you guys. I'll be here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Do you find that decisions regarding FOMO, Jomo are more complex in this pandemic time? And that reminds me of a question that was asked early on about what about fear in COVID? Okay, this is essential. If I can connect with my body, is this true for me? Is this going to serve my highest? I can know what the choice will create. So the first way to do this is get in the resonance of ease or love. Feel a day when you just felt amazing. Feel love for someone who's so easy to love. Feel that space of, amazing joy, amazing love, freedom. Take a few seconds, breathe. So now you're take as long as you need if you do this on your own, but breathe into that space. So now you're on that lighter space. Your awareness is on that lighter space. Now bring your awareness to the question at hand. Should I do, and you don't want to ask should. Will this choice contribute to me? Or go into this thing, or doing that, or not doing that. Just bring the choice, this choice. And just feel it. You will feel the frequency of it. And because you've come to that higher space first, you'll feel whether it's concordant with that highest space of you or discordant with that highest space of you. So you start with embracing love. I all is well. Think about someone you love. Get on that channel. Bring your awareness to that channel. And then bring your awareness to the channel of this choice. Doing this thing. What will it create for me to do this thing? What will it create for me to not do that thing? Whatever the choice is. And you'll feel the frequency of that. And then it's a matter of, am I willing to trust what I know? You can also ask, is this required for me? Is this in my highest and best? And do not judge it. Mind has a lot of ideas about what's supposed to be for the highest and best, and it can bump it out. But if you just feel from the heart, it will come in. All right, let me know your experience with this. And for those of you in the podcast or watching the recording, you can comment in YouTube, Dr. Kim Duramo. Definitely subscribe and hit the bell and share this with others that you love, because we are all so ready to awaken, more than ever, ready to awaken to the power that is within us. If you'd like to join me in the MindBody community in Facebook, that's where the conversation continues. And my team and I will see you there. All right, I love you guys. Oh, we got a lot of good comments about today, so that is really exciting. All right, I will see you guys soon. Oh, and if you'd like to join me on the 20th for the workshop, yes, there's a recording. So if you can't be there live, we'll send you the recording of that. drkimd.com/workshop. I'll put it in the comments. I think Jessica already did above, but there you have it. Love you. See you soon. Bye.